Namaskar to all of you. Myself Gaurav Kumar and I welcome you all to 16th Facebook Live series on Bharatiyakaran of Social Work Education on the behalf of Bharatiya Samaj Karya Parishad. Today we have Professor Dr.RAMESH.B from Department of Social Work and he is Registrar of Bengaluru Central University as a speaker of this session, and his topic is Bharatiyakaran of Social Work, a Buddhist perspective. Now I request Dr. Vishnu Mohan Das, sir, who is General Secretary of Bharatiya Samaj Karya Parishad, to welcome and introduce our honorable speaker, Professor Dr. Ramesh, sir.
Thank you, Gaurav. Good evening to all the audience. On behalf of Bharatiya Samaj Karya Parishad, we welcome to Professor RAMESH.B, who is currently working as a registrar in Bengaluru Central University. Professor Ramesh sir is a professor in social work as well as chairperson in social work in Tumkur University, Karnataka. Before joining Registrar in Bengaluru Central University, he was also Registrar in Karnataka State Open University. During his tenure in Tumkur University, Professor Ramesh had also served as founding director of Bhimrao Ambedkar Study Center. He was also Director Students Welfare. He was also the Director of IQAC in Tumkur University. Professor Ramesh sir, before joining Tumkur University, had also taught in Bengaluru University and Kuvempu University in various positions. Professor Ramesh sir is recipient of various awards from government and non-government organizations, including from the government of Karnataka. He has published 13 books and has authored more than 70 research papers in leading national and international journals. He has completed a number of research projects from UGC and ICSSR, and he frequently delivers keynote address in various prestigious academic forums. Professor Ramesh sir has organized number of national and international conferences. One of his biodata is so long, if I describe his achievements, it will take around more than half an hour. So I am just highlighting two of his major significant contribution to the academics. He was instrumental in the establishment of photo museum of Bhimrao Ambedkar, as well as he has also established unique library on Bhimrao Ambedkar. And Professor Ramesh sir will today deliver lecture on Bharatiyakaran of social work in a Buddhist perspective. Sir, on behalf of Bharatiya Samaj Karya Parishad, this is our pleasure that you have accepted our request to deliver lecture from our forum. Sir, you will be happy to know that Bharatiya Samaj Karya Parishad is a national association of social workers that is working towards Bharatiyakaran of social work education. But sir, in this Mahajagya, this Facebook live series is like the Mahajagya of Bharatiyakaran of social work education. And on the behalf of BSKP, it is our pleasure that we express our gratitude that you have accepted our invitation to deliver the lecture. Now I request Professor Ramesh sir to deliver his presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Vishnudas, sir. Namaskar. At the outset, I thank Professor Vishnudas for a brief introduction about me. Respected social work educators, practitioners, research scholars, and students. Good evening to one and all. At the outset, I thank Professor Vishnudas as well as Professor Y.S. Siddegoda sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Tumkur University, for giving me an opportunity to share some of my views on Bharatiyakaran of social work with special emphasis on Buddhist perspectives. Dear professional colleagues, as you all aware, the Bharatiyakaran of social work process has started 2 years back, and when we, as per Tumkur University, organized a national conference on Bharatiyakaran of social work under the chairmanship of our Professor Y.S. Siddegoda sir. When Professor Vishnudas was here, and many other luminaries of professional social work were here. They have conceptualized and coined the concepts of Bharatiyakaran of social work. When we started understanding the conceptual framework of Bharatiyakaran of social work, the understanding was expanding the base of philosophical base of professional social work from the perspective of Indic wisdom and cultural ethos of the country. When we understand that Bharatiyakaran of social work is nothing but expanding the philosophical base of the profession, one of the chief sources of understanding the cultural ethos and philosophical base of Indian culture, tradition, and value perspective is Gautam Buddha's teaching. I mean, if you look at the Buddhism and various knowledge domain of the Buddhist, particularly from the teachings of Gautam Buddha, there are many similarities between the modern social work profession and the Buddhist teachings, Gautam Buddha's teaching. So, as we all know, Gautam Buddha was a philosopher and spiritual teacher who lived in this country in the 6th century BCE. Around 2600 years ago, the Buddha lived and created a great knowledge domain for the benefit of the people of the world. So, if you look at the tenets of Buddhism, the cultural, traditional, historical ethos of Buddhism, the Panchashila, Ashtanga Marga, Trisarana, Arya Satya are prime cultural ethos and knowledge domain of the Buddhism. So if you take up the 4 noble truths of Gautam Buddha's teaching, that is dukkha, there are truth of sufferings. That is the concept of dukkha given by Gautam Buddha as part of his noble truths in his teaching. The second one is samudaya, that means the truth of the cause of suffering. Third one, that is nirodha, that means the truth of end of sufferings. Fourth one, the truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering, that is magga. Dukkha, samudaya, nirodha, and magga are the 4 important noble truths taught by the Gautam Buddha during the 6th century BC, that means 2600 years ago. If you try to understand the conceptual framework of these 4 noble truths, it is very clear that he has scientifically analyzed the social order of the country, and also he has highlighted that there are problems in the society, there are problems for the people, and also there are some reasons for the problems, I mean for the sufferings, and also there are, and these sufferings should be end, I mean these problems should be put full stop, and there are means and ways to understand the problems and also to check out the remedial path, means and ways to end these sufferings. These are the major important 4 noble truths taught by the Gautam Buddha. My views on this is, when you look at the modern professional social work, so there are many similarities between the overall Gautam Buddha's teachings and the modern professional social work. As a part of Bharatiyakaran, when you look at the roots of social work in the Indian culture and Indian cultural ethos, the main sources, as I have mentioned in the early, are Gautam Buddha's teaching. When we study the problem solving process activated by the Mary Richmond in the way back 1917, as part of, and she has borrowed from the model of study diagnosis treatment from the medical model, She explained that define the problem, conduct the assessments, self-goal and objectives, establish the contact, intervene, evaluation process, and end the process. So when you try to understand the problem solving process in the social work from early period to the till date, it is very clear that while understanding the problem solving process, you will have to study the problem, you will have to diagnose the problem, you will have to find the means and ways to end these problems with the scientific approach. This model of problem solving process touched by the Gautam Buddha way back 2600 years back as part of these 4 noble truths. I mean, what I would like to mention here in front of this august body is, when you try to understand the conceptual framework of Gautam Buddha's teaching, it is very clearly available that whatever that we have borrowed from the social work knowledge from the West, the Eurocentric, so-called Eurocentric social work knowledge, these modern scientific knowledge roots were very clearly visible in the Indian culture, especially in the Buddhist, in Gautam Buddha's teachings, and also in the other aspects of the Buddhism. So if you look at and understand scientifically these 4 noble truths, so it is very clear that there is a similarities between the philosophy of the social work and the process of social work to this 4 noble truths of Gautam Buddha. And further, if you would like to move further, Gautam Buddha taught 10 very important paramitas of Buddhist teaching, paramitas for the common man. So he has developed some 10 very important paramitas as part of Gautam Buddha's teaching. He developed these 10 very important characteristics for the common man. When a professional social workers providing counseling to the various fields, when he works with the rehabilitation centers, when they work in the family counseling center, when they work in the schools as a part of a preventive professional social work practice, so they can adopt these 10 very important parameters instead of following a Western kind of a Western developed models. Instead of using these Western models development, they can use these 10 parameters. These 10 parameters developed out of the soil of this nation, with the including all cultural aspects of this country. So these parameters speaks about dana, that means generosity; sila, that means morality; nikkama, that means renunciation; upaka, that means treat equally; virya, that means courage; kanti, that means shanti, that means patience; sacha, that means honesty; adidana, that means resolution; karuna, that means living kindness; maitri, that means equanimity. So these 10 very important parameters, when you are empowering the school children, when you are working in the process of empowering an individual, when you are transforming an individual from helpless to an empowering person, when you are strengthening the personality traits of a particular person, if you, a professional social worker, adopt this 10 parameter model taught by the Gautam Buddha, you can really construct a very strong personality so that the person can transform from helpless situation to the empowered situation. He can be educated, he can be a well developed personality can be constructed by adopting this. I mean, by adopting this, we can also, instead of using the Western models of practicing in the various fields of social work, we can adopt these teachings of Gautam Buddha as model of rehabilitation. And also, very important, Gautam Buddha's teaching constitute the Panchashila. Panchashila are the 5 very important ethical and value-based teachings by the Gautam Buddha. These Panchashilas definitely also will help us in various social work practices. I will first explain the conceptual framework of this Panchashila. Then we can also discuss about where we can use this Panchashila in our social work practice as part of indigenous social work practice. The first Panchashila, they are in Pali language. Panati Pata Veramani Sigga Padam Samadhyami. That means no killing, rather respect for the life. The meaning of this first Panchashila is respect for life. The second Panchashila is in Pali language, Adinadana Veramani Sikka Padam Samadhyami. That means no stealing. Instead, respect for others' property. Respect for others' property. This second Panchashila very clearly indicating that every individual should respect for the others' property. Then third one is Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikka Padam Samadhyami. That means no sexual misconduct, respect for our pure nature. There should not be any sexual misconduct in the society. Every individual must respect for our pure nature. So that is the third Panchashila teaching from Gautam Buddha. Fourth one is Musavada Veramani Sikka Padam Samadhyami. That means no lying, respect for honesty. So this propagates the respect for honesty. The fourth Panchashila very clearly construct the individual person as honest person. And fifth one is Sura Merana Majja Pamadatana Veramani Sikka Padam Samadhyami. That means no intoxicants, rather so you should reserve for clear mind. There should not be any intoxicant, and that people should not indulge with any kind of a intoxicant and addictions. That means you should live a very clear life. These five very important teachings of Gautam Buddha, called as Panchashila, are very important source of knowledge for the professional social work practitioners. As part of social work practice, when you practice social case work, when you practice social group work, when you practice community organizations especially, these Panchashila are the very important knowledge sources to apply as part of indigenous social work practice. This Panchashila definitely will help to construct a strong individual personality, transforming an individual from problematic situations to the healthy life situations. While applying the social casework method, so when you work in the de-addiction centers, when you work in the correctional institutions, when you work in the schools as part of personality development, in the part of preventive professional social work practice, as these Panchashila constitute a very sound knowledge source for the professional practitioners to adopt them by adopting. Why these are very important? As I was mentioning, these Panchashila developed by the Gautam Buddha as part of this soil. He has developed out of the womb of the cultural ethos of this country. They are perfectly suitable to implement, and people will receive without much problem. Because when we apply that Western borrowed various models in the process of rehabilitation, in the process of empowerment, in the process of educating, in the process of transforming the people, we come across plenty of problems. It may be cultural gaps, it may be gaps in understanding them and implementation aspects. But this Panchashila developed out of this cultural ethos, so easy to implement, easy to diagnose, easy to review, and easy to evaluate, and very, very important, very practical, these Panchashila, whatever that Buddha's teaching, we teach, we practice, they are also tested body of knowledge. They have not only developed or written by Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha developed this conceptual framework, implemented in the community, he tested and prescribed for the practices. So they are the tested body of knowledge. Among them, Panchashila are the very, very important knowledge domain for all the professional practitioners available in Gautam Buddha's teaching. Easily we can adapt them and understand them and practice them. After that, the very important aspect of Buddhism are Gautam Buddha's, as part of Gautam Buddha teaching, eightfold path, we call them as Ashtanga Marga. Ashtanga Marga are the very important knowledge domain sources in Buddhist teaching. This eightfold path provides how an individual should be. Especially when we talk about the characteristics or attributes or skills for the professional social workers, we highlight that professional social workers should be empathetic, and professional social workers should be social perspectiveness should be there, self-awareness should be there, you should be very organized person, you should have the cooperative character, and you should be very flexible, and so on. When we talk all this, when we teach about the various attributes of the professional social workers borrowed from the Western perspectives, these Gautam Buddha's eightfold paths are readily available to make use, to construct the personality traits for the professional social workers, and also this can be easily adapted to develop a great personalities, a healthy personalities in the professional practice. So the eightfold path are as follows. Number one, right speech. So right speech says that an individual should speak truth, it should speak gently, and his communication should knowledge should be very sound, and right speech is very important knowledge as taught by the Gautam Buddha as part of eightfold path. And second one is right intention. You should have a right intention to do the practice, and also you should have a right view should be there to that person, and right mindfulness also is one of the very important path, and right concentration is also one of the very fifth important path. Sixth one is right effort. Seventh one is right livelihood. Eighth one is right action. These eightfold paths are very important knowledge domain taught by the Gautam Buddha. As I was mentioned in the early, as part of attributes of the professional social worker, this can be adopted: the right speech, right intention, right view, right mindfulness, right concentration, right effort, right livelihood, and right action. These are the eightfold path knowledge is available in the Gautam Buddha's teaching. Easily we can adopt to construct an excellent social work personality. These eightfold path also can be predominantly practiced in the social work practice when we work with the various fields of the professional social work. It may be industry, it may be in the field of health, or in the field of medical and psychiatric social work, when you work with the community. These eightfold path definitely help the professional social workers to adapt them to in the process of modifying the person, in the process of transforming the person, in the process of constructing the healthy personality. So these eightfold paths are also one of the very important chief sources of professional social work practice. After this eightfold path, when we talk about the community development, there are many social work routes of community development are also available in the Gautam Buddha's teaching, especially in the overall Buddhist perspectives. If you look at the Digha Nikaya is one of the very important holy book in the Buddhism. In the Digha Nikaya, Gautam Buddha recommended 7 conditions for the welfare, prosperity, and happiness of any community, nation, and the country. These conditions must be considered before serving the people for their gradual development and welfare. So these 7 conditions are to assemble an occasion whenever necessary to discuss the affairs of the community, to do everything by consensus, to respect old tradition and not transgress them, to respect and obey elders and superiors, to respect women in general, to respect, worship, and honor all religious shrines, to honor and respect all holy people irrespective of their caste, creed, and gender. So these 7 very important conditions definitely will help the professional social workers when we work with community. So when we work with the community, when we try to understand their problems in the community, when we try to diagnose the problems of the community, when we develop the treatment modalities for the community development, these are the very important essential ingredients. We adopt principles of professional social work developed by Maharaji Ras. When we understanding the various principles, skills, and knowledge domain of the community organization and as well as community development developed by the Western thinkers, so these components are clearly visible in the modern social work. Whatever Gautam Buddha in his Digha Nikaya developed these 7 guidelines to develop, to apply while working with the community for the development of the community and to mobilize the community for the good cause. So this can be really looked into, and when we talk about the modern, the Western model of professional social work, instead of directly applying this Western borrowed professional social work knowledge, if we adopt these 7 very important guidelines given by Gautam Buddha in his Digha Nikaya holy book, definitely this will really help us. They are indigenous in nature. They are really Indian perspective. They have Indian originality, so that it can be easily accepted by the people and can be effectively adopted. So like this, there are many modern social work routes available in Gautam Buddha's teaching. Easily we can study them, we can understand them, we can borrow them as part of Bharatiya perspectives. And also further, when we talk about the family social work, Gautam Buddha was quite conscious of the fact that so long as peace and solidarity are not maintained in every family and society, it cannot prosper. That was one of the very important teachings of Gautam Buddha. For that reason, Gautam Buddha gave importance to the maintenance of peace and harmony within the family. In his Singalabodha Sutta, as part of Digha Nikaya holy book, Gautam Buddha very clearly prescribed the duties and responsibilities of the parents towards the children and the children towards their parents, of the wife towards her husband and of the husband towards his wife and children, of servants towards their masters and of the masters towards their servants, of men and women towards their relatives, of the teachers towards taught and of the taught towards the teacher, and so on. So by expounding the duties of the householder, Gautam Buddha taught with clarity how people should live in their family members, with their family members, and other members of society, bringing happiness not only to themselves but also to the world at large. This knowledge from the Gautam Buddha's teaching with related to the family very clearly relates the social work intervention with the family. So when we talk about the significance of social work intervention with the families, we talk much about the healthy interdependent to development of the healthy interdependent life in each and every family. And we also talk about how a family can be an effective primary component to develop an healthy individual. So family has its own very important roles in grooming a healthy personality, a healthy mindful personality, so that family is the very important root cause for the future problems of every individual. If any individual is achieved something, has developed well, and is living a very healthy and happy life, that means that the family contribution is much. If a person is not performing well and is sick and problem with many other these things, and for that family also will be very responsible. So from that perspective, it is very clear that in the Diga Nikaya, a holy book in Gautam Buddha's teaching, very clearly envisages the responsibility of the every family members, how happily with all health models, with the help of each other, can live in a family environment. This model are very important and very source of knowledge for the professional social work practitioners. Professional social work practitioners can easily draw knowledge from this Diga Nikaya. As again, I would like to mention that the Diga Nikaya, as part of Gautam Buddha's teaching, developed out of the cultural part of this land. So like this, there are many components of modern professional social work routes available in the Gautam Buddha's teaching. In the same manner, when we talk about the foundations of social work, that is values of professional social work, there are many philosophical similarities between the profession of modern social work professional values and values of Buddhism. So when we talk about that, modern social work values are service, social justice, dignity and worth of the individual, importance of human relationship, integrity, and competence are the value base of the professional social work developed by the NASW. All these 5 very important value base are available in Gautam Buddha's teaching. So service, in the Gautam Buddha's philosophical ideals, Buddhism basically developed out of the humanitarian philosophy, developed out of the mutual respect and mutual help. They are the basic foundations of the Buddhism. So Buddhism always gives a very importance for the service. So professional social work, the base as a part of foundation is also a service. From the perspective of the service as part of social work value, Buddhism also mainly depending on the foundation of service, and social work professional social work practice is also depending on standing on the base of service. And social justice, as we all know, social justice is one of the very important pillar of the professional social work as part of democratic ideals. Buddhism also standing on the ideals of social justice. In all Gautam Buddha's teaching, social justice is a visible knowledge domain, from Trisarana to Panchasila, Ashtanga Marga, and all Jataka stories, and all other ideals of the Buddhism are having rich source of social justice. So Gautam Buddha is the first social justice activist in this soil of this nation. So social justice is part of the Buddhism, and is also part of, and found not only part, it is also a foundation of social work values. And dignity and worth of the individual is the very important value in the professional social work. If you try to understand the Buddhist cultural components and knowledge domain of the Buddhism, in the Buddhism also, worth and dignity of the individual is visible in all the domain knowledge. Each and every individual, by taking birth itself, is worthy and is a competitive, and if you provide a clear atmosphere and proper environmental, any individual can excel, he can transform, he can develop, and he can be a very healthy person. So worth and dignity of the individual is also visible in all aspects of the Buddhism, and it is also a foundation of the professional social work. From that perspective also, if you look at, there are many similarities between the modern professional social work and the Buddhist ideals. And very important is integrity. So integrity is the foundation of the social work practice, and it is also foundation of the Buddhism. If we look at the Panchashila, so they are the Sila, Dana, Karuna, Maitri are the foundations of the Gautam Buddha's teaching. So in each and every component of this knowledge domain, very strongly preaches the integrity of the every individual in the society. Every individual must lead his life with utter integrity. So that is the knowledge domain, that is the teaching of Gautam Buddha. Here in the professional social work also, integrity is the foundation for the professional social work practitioners. And also with regard to the competence, the professional social worker must practice his professional practice with his competence boundary, and he should be very competent in his professional practice. In the Buddhism also, very clearly envisages that every individual should be very competent in his professional practice or in his domain knowledge area. So competence is also base for the Buddhism and also base for the professional social work practice. So overall, the foundation of the professional social work, that is values and ethical aspects of the professional social workers, if you consider, so both values and code of ethics of the professional social workers very well go with the teachings of the Gautam Buddha. There are many similarities between these two. Instead of understanding and depending only on values and code of ethics developed by the NASW and other Western professional social work associations, we can also look those components in the Gautam Buddha's teaching, developed 2600 years back and spread all over the world. So Gautam Buddha's teachings are developed out of our communities, developed out of our history, developed out of our cultural ethos, developed out of our all Indic wisdom knowledge perspectives. They are easy to adapt, they are easy to understand, and easy to perceive, and easy to even to own it. So from that aspect, my sincere request to all the social work practitioners as part of Bharatiyakaran of social work, there are modern social work routes, plenty of modern social work routes available in the Buddhist perspectives and Buddhist knowledge domain. We can conduct many research on it. We can adopt in the teaching part also. We can adopt as practice part also. Not only this, if you look at the social work, various socio-psychological theories, that means whatever that social work tested body of knowledge today we are adopting and teaching, the value base of them are many social and psychological and economic and political theories. So if you look at many psychosocial theories and as well as the various therapies adopted in the social work practitioner, if you look at from that perspective also, it is very clear that plenty of social work roots are available in the Buddhism. Especially when you adopt psychodynamic therapy. So psychodynamic therapy models are available in the Buddhist meditational therapies. So many Buddhist meditational therapies are more stronger, more effective than the psychodynamic therapy. And many professional social workers, psychiatrists and psychologists involved in cognitive behavioral therapy. Equivalent to cognitive behavioral therapy, there are many meditational therapies available in the Buddhist practice. We can easily understand them and borrow from them. And also psychoanalytical therapies also available in the Buddhist meditational practice. Even components of eclectic therapy is also available in the Buddhist meditational therapy. Like this, if you look at various therapies and theories adopted in professional social work to understand the social work domain knowledge and to teach the social work knowledge and also to practice the social work knowledge, there are ample of opportunities for all of us to look those modern components in the Gautam Buddha's teaching. So Gautam Buddha's teaching are the rich sources of understanding the modern professional social work as part of Bharatiyakaran. When we try to understand expand the philosophical base of the professional social work from the Indic wisdom, from the cultural, from the perspective of the cultural ethos of the India, the rich one of the very, apart from many other sources, cultural sources of the country, my sincere request before the august body is, when we need to look at the Buddhist teachings, Gautam Buddha's teachings, various Gautam Buddha's holy books are available, especially in the form of Tripitakas. In the Tripitakas, in the Jataka stories, so in the many other Buddhist order knowledge, rich source of knowledge are available to understand the modern social work from the perspective of Indianization. So my sincere request to the research scholars, students of professional social work and teachers of the social work, when we are in the process of Bharatiyakaran of social work, our responsibility is to understand the Gautam Buddha's teaching in a very scientific manner. Of course, when we talk about the tested body of knowledge as a nature of professional social work, then Gautam Buddha's teaching are also tested body of knowledge. You will understand if you scientifically understand the various teachings of the Buddhism. So my sincere request is, try to conduct the research, try to read the more and more Gautam Buddha's teaching, try to discuss with the teachers, discuss with the colleagues, and also conduct research projects so that many Buddhist models can be adopted as part of professional social work. Buddhist knowledge domain are very rich knowledge domains. So easily we can adopt them and we can practice them without much hurdles. So when we talk about Eurocentric, when we talk about Western models of professional social work, so when in the process of Bharatiyakaran of social work, we need to develop Indian perspective of social work. As part of Indian perspective of social work, we can look for this in the Buddhist knowledge domain. So I would like to conclude my views on this is, when we talk about the Bharatiyakaran of social work in the name of Indianization, Gautam Buddha's teaching are the rich sources. Buddhist perspectives are the rich sources to understand the modern social work. We can adopt many models, we can adopt knowledge domains, we can adopt various theories, we can adopt various therapeutic models from the Gautam Buddha's teaching and Buddhist knowledge domain into the modern professional social work practice, so that by doing this, the Indianization, or you can say the Bharatiyakaran of social work, can be developed in future time. The professional social work practice will be completely from the Indian perspective, from the vision of the Indic society. With these views, I would like to conclude my speech on the Bharatiyakaran of social work, Buddhist perspective. Once again, I thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, is also President of the Bharatiya Samaj Karya Parishad, Professor Y.S. Siddegowda sir in Karnataka and also in South India. He has taken prime responsibility in effective implementation of this Bharatiyakaran of social work. We all, many young social work professionals, are working along with him to achieve the goal. My special thanks to Professor Vishnu Das ji. He has been striving hard along with many other senior professional colleagues to achieve the Bharatiyakaran of professional social work. I wish very all the best for them to succeed in the Bharatiyakaran of social work. My sincere request to all senior colleagues and the students and research scholars is, when we talk about Indic values, when we talk about Indian culture, when we talk about Indianization, when we talk about Bharatiyakaran, Gautam Buddha's teaching and domain knowledge of Buddhism are the rich sources to understand the Indian culture. Of course, we need to conduct many researchers on it. We need to invent many knowledge in Buddhism and borrow to the professional social work practice. So if we do that in the future days, we can get an extremely very good knowledge from the Indian perspective for the social work profession. With this, I would like to conclude my speech, and also I thank Gaurav for the all articulation of this speech. Thank you, Gaurav Kumar. So once again, I thank one and all for your patience listening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful lecture. Now we have few questions.
Yes,
few
sir.
selective questions for you.
Yeah.
So if you are able to see the questions on screen.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So the question, shall I read, Gaurav? Okay, since 1950, the Buddhist monks and organizations are actively involved in political advocacy and social service in Asia as well as in the West, which is called as socially engaged Buddhism. Please let us know some of the important initiatives and projects undertaken by these protagonists of socially engaged Buddhism. The stream of Buddhism is directly related to social work practice regards. This is really extremely true. Thank you, Professor. Sri D.P. Singh ji. Of course, many modern social activism also taking place to understand to interface the modern problems from the Buddhist perspective. When globalizing, the many modern problems are arising in the society, which are very challenge for the professional social work practice, not only for the social work practitioners, but also they are very challenge for the social scientists, bureaucrats, and policymakers. As a rich knowledge source from the scientific and psychological perspective, we have many answers in Buddhism for the unsolved social questions. When we move from simple to complex globalizing society, people are facing many problems. Really, if you scientifically understand the ideals of the Buddhism and overall Gautam Buddha's teaching, there are many answers to the unsolved problems of the modern society. Definitely, it is true. We need to conduct many researches. We need to investigate many models from the Buddhist perspectives so that we can find out means and ways to face the modern problems. Gaurav, can we go to second question? Question from Professor Ranjana Sehgal, Madam. Has any research been done to empirically test the efficacy of the Buddhist model in your knowledge? Madam, of course, many researchers have taken place especially in Japan, Thailand, and Myanmar, and in many other countries. Even when 2 years back, when we started the Bharatiyakaran of social work, when we had a national conference on Bharatiyakaran here in Tumkur University, as part of it, one of our students has taken research topic as Bharatiyakaran of social work, Buddhist perspectives. So he is in the process of conducting research. He is trying to develop a kind of a consensus between the professional social work knowledge and the ideals of the Buddhism. And Mahabodhi Society, a Buddhist organization in Bangalore, there are 8 research scholars. They are working in Tumkur University. We have collaboration with the Tumkur University and Mahabodhi Society. 8 students, including 3 foreign students, they are also conducting research on the same area. In the future days, many more models can be developed for the practitioner of the for the social work practitioners from the Buddhist perspectives. Thank you, madam. A question from Pratibha Mishra. Eightfold Path is also an integral part of our Indian social work values, but molded in different ways. Please comment. Second question. Meditation and yoga is also have a place in Buddhism. Why it is not included in social work curriculum? It is very true. Meditation and yoga are the rich sources for all of us in transforming the individual as a part of healing process of an individual. Take for example, yoga and meditation can be very effective models in the rehabilitation centers, especially alcoholic rehabilitation centers. In the process of transforming the addicted individuals, yoga and meditations can be very effective models to transform, to change them from sick to very healthy. And it is also very effective to practice in the correctional institutions, maybe in the central jails and other correctional institutions. Even they are also extreme good models in school social work also can be predominantly practiced. As part of Bharatiyakaran of social work, it is our prime duty to include yoga and meditation components as part of social work curriculum. Here in Tumkur University and many universities in Karnataka, we have included yoga and meditation as part of healing strategies in social work syllabus. So that should be adapted by the many social work schools so that they can be effectively practiced as part of social work profession in future. So question from Priyabhatra Mahapatra, Faculty of Department of Social Work. How Buddhist philosophy have focused on especially weaker and also backward sections of our society. Second question, how Panchasila teaching are correlated to the social work indigenous practitioners. Both are very valid questions. Thank you, Professor Mahapatra, Faculty of Social Work, Salipur Autonomous Institution. So Buddhist philosophy mainly focuses on the weaker sections of the society. In Gautam Buddha's teaching, very clearly envisages that women should be respected, and top priority in all respect should be woman, elder, child, destitutes, and have-nots. So handicaps, these weaker sections are called underprivileged community, So in the entire Gautam Buddha's teaching, he prioritized that the facilities and welfare amenities should be reached to the have-nots in a top priority basis. During Gautam Buddha's tenure, through his Sangha, he cultivated many welfare activities and taught all monks to involve in the social welfare activities to help the sick, to help the destitute, to help the aged, and to help the widows and many other destitute communities. Social justice, even I was mentioned in the early, social justice is the part of the Buddhism. If you look at the entire core domain philosophy of the Buddhism, the top cultural service priority shall be available for the destitutes. That is the Gautam Buddha's teaching. In all sector of the Gautam Buddha's knowledge, the top priority is for the weaker sections of the society. Panchasila, as I was mentioning in the early, Panchasila are the very important teachings of Gautam Buddha. They construct the real personality, they transform the individual, they modify the individual. It is a very effective model in the preventive social profession. Even it can be predominantly practiced in the rehabilitation part of social work practice. In both preventive and rehabilitative models of professional social work, Panchasila can be an excellent healing mechanism to adopt as part of social work practice. I strongly recommend to add as part of our syllabus, so that during the field work practice, Panchasila can be practiced by the social work students, and it can be an excellent healing mechanism to transform the individuals. So we have to take up practice research to Indianize our profession. Are we doing enough practice research? This question is from Pramod Kumar Bajpai. Yes, as far as my knowledge is concerned, in social work, research is not taking place in hand. The purpose of social work research is to create new knowledge for the practice of social work practitioners. What is happening in the India? Lot of social work research are taking place in these areas of social issues. Out of that research, we are not developing any knowledge domain for the purpose of practicing the social work. Our research area should be more focused on developing the new knowledge from the for the practitioners. So researcher should develop the models, should develop the practicing models for the benefit of the social work practitioners. Whatever may be the field, it may be industry, it may be hospital, or it may be community, or it may be applying different methods of social work. Social work researchers must contribute heavily for the creating the knowledge for the and practice knowledge from the practitioners. So research results should be readily available to use by the social work practitioners. Then only social work knowledge will develop, and it will, when the problems are changing, when societies are changing, when more and more challenges are coming to the social work professionals, the means and ways and strategies, models also can be equally developed and practiced. So, question from Sonali Savai. Thank you, sir, for the beautiful session. My question is, what is the view of Buddha about casteism? It's a very, very important question. From the perspective of Gautam Buddha, when he strongly propagate the social justice, as far as the Gautam Buddha's teaching is concerned, all are equal in respect of caste, creed, in respect of economic inequality, in respect of many gender and everything. All are equal, and equanimity shall be the top priority in the social work practice. In Gautam Buddha's teaching also, Gautam Buddha very clearly, predominantly propagate the equality among the people in respect of caste, in respect of various religion, in respect of gender, all are equal. Of course, he modified, he identified many answers to the questions related to the woman faces in our society. He was a feminist, he was an advocate of the social justice, he was also a great democratic philosopher. Of course, the first democratic ideals developed by the Gautam Buddha, the liberty, fraternity, equality, and social justice were the, before coming to the Indian Constitution, they were the major tenets of the Gautam Buddha's teaching. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar borrowed these pillars of the democratic ideals to the Indian Constitution from the Buddhist perspective. From the Gautam Buddha's teaching only, he drawn the concept of social justice, brotherhood, and everything borrowed from Gautam Buddha's teaching to the Indian Constitution. So from that perspective, Buddhism very clearly propagate the equality in the society. In the perspective of Buddhism, all people are equal, and all of them are having enormous capacity to change and act. If you provide proper environment, every individual, irrespective of their social status, every individual can grow, can develop, can change, and can achieve anything equal. All of them are equal in achieving this. That is the very important conceptual framework of Gautam Buddha's teaching. If you look at the Gautam Buddha's teaching as well as various components in the Tripitakas, so you will come to know that Gautam Buddha always strongly teaches the equality in the society.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful lecture. Now we have last question
Yes,
from
sir.
Pratibha Mishra, ma'am.
Pratibha Mishra, madam, what solution do you find in Buddhism to COVID as an Indian social work and it is field through points, terms of suggestions. Thank you very much, madam. Very important, timely question asked by Pratibha Misra, madam. Of course, the COVID pandemic is one of the very important challenge before the social work professionals. Professional social work always work with the people. We try to understand the problems of the people. It is the process of social work is the process of working with the people. When we talk about the process of working with the people and working for the people, it is very important to understand that COVID-19 created a kind of a social gaps between the people, which is a great challenge for us. COVID-19 created a kind of a economic illness in the society, created kind of a social gaps in the society, created a kind of a socio-economic and psychological crisis in this society. Of course, there are ample of answers in the Gautam Buddha's teaching to face this kind of situation. If you look at the Jataka stories of Buddhism, if you look at the various other aspects of the Gautam Buddha's teaching, it is very clear that when we face the pandemic like this, we have to strongly emphasize the brotherhood, mutual help, empathy, and many other sources. And we have to develop a kind of a responsibility among the people as professional social workers, and we have to develop kind of a empathetic qualities among the people to face this challenge. My sincere request to all the professional social workers is we have to be very proactive to face this kind of challenge. We need to understand the situation. We need to diagnose the situation as professional social workers. We have to find the available means and ways to fill the gap, especially from the psychological perspectives. We need to develop kind of a confidence in the people. We need to develop a kind of a helping mechanism to people, and we have to equip them, we have to empower them to strengthen their knowledge to live along with the COVID-19 pandemic. It is inevitable for all of us, for all the people in the entire world, to learn to live along with the COVID-19 at least for future 3-4 years. We need to educate them, we need to empower them, we need to strengthen their social, economic and social conditions by using various knowledge domain of the professional social work. When they have empowered, definitely they will be able to help themselves, they will be able to help their own surroundings. In Buddhism also, to understand this kind of disastrous situations, there are many knowledge domains in the Buddhism. I think we need to understand them in a scientific manner, and as a professional social workers, if we adopt them, when we blend the professional social work practice along with the Buddhist ideals, then result will be very effective and result will be very immediate, and we can really transform the society and achieve the goals of the professional social work.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Dr. Chittaranjan Subudhi, sir, from Central University of Tamil Nadu to
Good evening to everyone. On behalf of the Bharatiya Samaj Karya Parishad, I thanks to all of you And I especially thanks to Professor Ramesh and his enlightening on the Buddhist perspective in the contemporary social work practice in Indian context. Sir has started with the talk with the cultural ethos in India. As we know, it is unique across the globe. And the teaching of Lord Buddha and his contribution to the modern social work, which is really admired and which we should document and which we should incorporate the syllabus also. The people, as an Indian, we should know what is the contribution of Lord Buddha instead of focusing the outside. That Sir has also discussed about the Four Noble Truths and the social problems and 10 parameters, then discuss about the Pansila and eightfold path of the life, then 7 conditions of the life which makes better. So along with this, Sir also discuss about the Lord Buddha's contribution, the teaching on role and responsibilities of the family members, which makes the better, because as you know, the family is the basic element of the society. Once the family will strengthen, we can strengthen the whole society and the community also. Again, Sir also focused on the social justice that given by the Lord Buddha, and oath and dignity of the individual, the integrity of the every individual. Along with this, Sir also discussed about the therapies given by the Lord Buddha, which is more effective than the contemporary other kind of therapies. So we can go again research with the Lord Buddha, and we can find out. We have to do more research also to get more knowledge and to prove the scientific way. So thank you, sir, for enlightening us, enlightening the social work community. So on behalf of the Bharatiya Samaj Karya Parishad, I thanks to you, sir, for your time, valuable time and knowledge. Also, I thanks all the Facebook audience, and thanks everyone. Thanks. Jai Hind. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.